Well, hey, garage people. It is now, if you've watched my last video, a couple days have passed and it is now Thursday morning. And we'll get to the reasoning why a couple days have passed in a sec. But, on the positive note, I managed to get a lot of things done with the car, even though it is still not quite finished yet. We are very, very close. I'll spin you around here and we'll show you on our list. Exhaust is on, which I'll show you. Jenny so graciously helped me after she got home from work after overtime by bleeding the brakes and the clutch. I've got an appointment today, which was supposed to be yesterday, to balance my wheels and tires, which I will then put on and lower onto my bricks, so I've got some clearance to crawl underneath and tighten down the sway bars when the full weight of the car is on them. I've already plugged in my battery. I smoke checked my gauges. As you can see, the car has not burned to the ground. The new gauges work and light up. Everything seems to be happy so far. I still have to program those gauges, and then after that's done, I'll crank for oil pressure. And then once I have oil pressure, I will lower the car back down, add the coolant, put in all the plugs that I can from the bottom, and I'm sure I'll have to raise it up to the top to put the number 8 plug in on the far side. I already adjusted the clutch push rod, and I'm obviously going to be going easy on the clutch for the first couple hundred miles, so I think even if it is slightly over adjusted, I'm not worried about it now. I left a little bit of play in it, and I think it'll be perfect, so if anything I can make it more aggressive later. And so, before I bring the wheels and tires in and tighten the sway bars, I'll finish programming the gauges, and then I'll do these two things. And then the only thing that's left after that is put the seat in, or put the panels in under the dash, put the seat in, and then it's ready to start. And once it's started, I will do the little roll test and see if my clutch is in the neighborhood of being close enough, which I'm thinking it already is. That's why I'm going to put the stuff back together. But I'll just make sure for now, and like I said, I can adjust it more later. So, good stuff on that front. Like I said, we are close. And, in addition to being close, we have a full complete exhaust system. With our SLP dual exit on the rear, no muffler, up over the axle, drops back down into our SLP resonator. This one is the baffled one. It's got my footprint on there. It's got the baffling on the inside. And then our new part, which here's our old part. You can see just a connector pipe, which is all well and good. Gets your exhaust where it needs to go until you replace it with this. That's my electric cutout. I thought I was going to be able to fit it up under here, but that is not the case, so it will be the lowest thing to the ground, which is alright. The wheels and tires will more than take up the difference. I'll be careful on railroad crossings, as I already am. Once I have the full weight of the car on, this torque arm will be pushed up even higher, as will this drive shaft, once the angles are right with the weight on it. And so I think what I'm going to do is once I have the weight of the car on the chassis, I'm going to loosen these two here and these two here and rotate this up as far as I can, just to give myself maximum ground clearance. But I'm super excited. This thing is going to be so nasty. It's just it's going to scream. It's going to be annoying. It's going to sound amazing at idle and just ridiculous at wide open throttle. The wiring just runs up here and along with the brake lines, and then you can see kind of right there, and then it eventually just tees up into my shifter boot and pops out and is wired into the switch that is now in the ashtray, which I think is pretty cool. So, yeah, the exhaust is done. Everything's tightened down. I got my 2 AFR bungs over there, and the front one is for the PCM, and the back one is for my new gauge, which I just verified not only works, but I calibrated the O2 sensor and it is set to rock, so that is already comforting. I've got a spare bung here and a spare bung over here. I'm going to attempt to get this one removed, so Todd can use that for his tuning, so he doesn't have to take any of mine out. Then that will be the only other thing that I need to do under here. Sorry, I'm still zoomed in there. So I'm gonna kick my stool over here and lower you guys down, and we'll take a look under the, oop, still got the lock on. There we go. Seems like I do that a lot when I'm filming. Oh, well, it's better than leaving them unlocked when you're crawling around underneath it, I suppose. So, anyway, we'll get her down here. Make sure not to crush. Oh, our light's way back there. Just don't want to crush it. Yeah, that's far enough. So, under the hood, the only thing we don't have is our strut tower brace, because I haven't modified it yet. That will fit over these studs and over the matching two over there. I've got my fuses pulled out for the fuel pump, which is right here, and the ignition, which is right there, as well as the injector banks on cylinder heads 1 and 2. So there's the fuel pump, there's the ignition. Those are pulled out. No plugs in yet, and I also disconnected the coils and the injectors from the harness, just because I don't want any fuel pumping yet, even though I do have 10 gallons in the tank, because I installed my new fuel pump, and I wanted to make sure it had time to settle in and all the bubbles work out of it and stuff like that, so I poured that in yesterday, actually. But that is all done. As you can see, this bellows just barely fits, which is great. This is pretty much a straight shot from this big horn right into the intake, and then the intake is straight back. The plenum is huge, so that'll be great. And as far as the interior goes, we're pretty much done. My switchies came together awesome. I got my nitrous button on the shifter and the roll control button on the shaft. These are the two panels that still have to go back in. That's the kick panel way underneath, and then that's the knee panel with my new switches in it, as well as the trunk release. Got my fire extinguisher here because I was doing smoke checks. Just wanted to be safe. And yeah, those things will get installed down there. But I already verified my gauges. The bottom one is the one with the AFR, and the top one is the fuel pressure. They both lit up and they work. So I just need to go about programming the limits for the nitrous system and stuff on this one, and the limits for the fuel pressure on that one, and then those are done. So when those are done, I will plug everything back in here and put these on. So that's kind of the plan. So I need to crank for oil pressure, put the coolant in, put the plugs in, and do that. So that's what I need to do before I get my tires rotated today at 2 at car time. But the reason why I didn't get that done yesterday at 8 in the morning was because I was up in Buffalo on Monday, and it was gorgeous, like 60 degrees all the way up there, and then like 50s, 40s up there, sunny. And then came back down here yesterday, Tuesday, and crappy all day, but I was working in here, so I didn't care. It was just rainy and gross. They're projecting winter. I was like, yeah, whatever, no way. Yeah, winter showed back up. So that's fun. Yesterday, we were completely snowed in. Plow came by. The Grand Prix was here all day. Jenny tried to get to work, and she couldn't. Luckily, she came back before she slid into a ditch. But yeah, then we got ourselves blown out, and everything is happy. So, well, everything's happy except for me. This is fine and all, but I'm going on vacation on Saturday, and I was really hoping to get the car to Todd before we go on vacation so he could just hang on to it and tune it while I'm gone. I still might. It's only Thursday today, and I have till 4 tomorrow to potentially get it to him. But the kicker is I need to drive it to break in the rear gears and verify the motor is okay and happy. Not drive it fast, just drive it around for, like 40 miles or so. And then change the oil, change the rear end oil, and then drive it up to Waverly to get to him. And I really don't think that's going to happen in the next couple days, unfortunately. So I'm a little bit miffed about it, but not really. It's not a big deal because I'm not effectively ahead or behind of schedule. If I get it running before we go on vacation, which I'm planning on doing today or maybe tomorrow at the latest, I will still be very happy. So, little bit miffed that I'm not quite as ahead of schedule as I thought, especially with how nice it was this past week. Like, oh man, you guys, Monday was perfect. There were people on motorcycles everywhere. I shit you not. Motorcycles galore. And not a chance now. So I'm gonna bring the Grand Prix in the garage so she can de-ice, and I'll put the wheels and tires in the trunk, and then I'm gonna let her wheels and tires melt off as well, because that is what is getting balanced, as well as the Camaro's wheels and tires. I know for a fact the Grand Prix are unbalanced because I got a little aggressive with the power washer and knocked some weights off, and she's got a nice shimmy shake at freeway speeds and a really aggressive one around, 80 plus. So that's gonna get finally attended to. But the main reason is because of these bad boys right here. These tires only have a few, probably 4,000 miles on them. The wheels are mine, but when they were installed, they were never balanced. They have no weight on them or anything like that. So I noticed in the car at about 52 to 58 miles an hour, it would twitch the steering wheel pretty aggressively, which is unfortunate because that's like county road cruising speeds, just bopping around. So it's really noticeable, and I don't like it. And I wanted to get it fixed before I start getting new things done with it, because then I'm more likely to be able to notice something weird that's up. So anyway, I'm gonna stack these in the trunk and then bring the Grand Prix along to get hers done as well in a few hours. So I will update you guys after I have cranked for oil pressure and put the plugs in and put the interior in. So that's what's next. We'll program the gauges, and then we'll do the oil pressure, do the coolant, and then bop around and put the kick panel in, the knee panel, and the seat back in. And yeah, then after that, it'll be ready to fire. But I'm going to hold off on doing that until I have the wheels and tires on, just so everything's fit together. Yeah, very exciting. All right, see you shortly. All right, viewers, check it out. We are so close. I got my wheels, or I got a scheduled appointment at 2 p.m. today to get my wheels and tires balanced for these and for this bad boy. So those two, the wheels will come on and then the sway bars will get tightened. Everything else is done. Batteries plugged in, the electronics don't smoke. Got the gauges programmed as much as I could. Fuel gauge will just have to, I think it's good. It's reading 0 right now and it's 0 pressure, so. I do have oil pressure, which is awesome. It took about 4 times cranking of 8 or 10 and 12 seconds at the most, and then it came right up. Super happy with that. No weird noises on the engine. It turned over super smooth. Yeah, I got about, what's the little gauge there say? I can't remember. Yeah, a little over 40 pounds of oil pressure at cranking, so we are super happy. We're gonna be safe as all get out. And I just put the coolant in, and the clutch push rod is adjusted, the seat is in, the kick panels are in, the relays and fuses are back in for the panel, for the fueling. So all I need to do, if you can read my chicken scratch, is put the plugs in, and then I can start it, because we could do this afterwards. But there's always something. Fortunately, I have to go into town anyway. These are my new plugs. They're the exact ones I wanted, which is great and all. But they take a 13/16 hex, and that is too big. These are the old plugs, and they take a 5/8 hex, which you wouldn't think is that important. But on the cylinder heads, the recessed hole that the plugs thread into is so small that there's no room to get that 13/16 socket on the plug hex to tighten it. You need these small hex plugs. So of course, I hope they'll let me return these plugs, because these are good iridium plugs. They were like $105, I think, for 8 of them. So if I can't return them, I just gotta eat that, and I gotta find something that's like this. But this one would be okay, but I need a non-projected tip, and I need it 2 stages colder. This is a 5, I need a 7, and this is a projected tip, and I need a recessed tip. So we will go to O'Reilly's and just see what they have. Hopefully they got something today. If not, I will probably be running back there tomorrow to pick them up if they can get them in from another store, or we'll see. So I really want the NGKs and I really want the Iridiums. And I need a heat range of 7, and I need a non-projected tip, so I'm not in a whole lot of places to compromise, except maybe on the fact I could get away with a non-NGK, which I'm just partial to them because I've worked with them in the past, and I could maybe get away with a non-Iridium, but these plugs are hard enough to change, and I spent enough money on the rest of the car that might as well put the good plugs in it, so... Anyway, the Grand Prix is thawing. Getting the snow off and ice off the wheels so I can bring it in and have those balanced, which will be great. I think this is one of the wheels. Yeah, look at it. So the weights are off and there's a bunch on there. So yeah, that's not great. But speaking of great, it's getting much nicer out here. It is warming up. It's not warm, but it's warming. We will check the roads on the way to Northfield and see what's what, because if the roads are dry, then I could take the car out. But if they're not dry, then there's salt water, and I don't want to mess around with that. This road out here is dirt, but it's just very short to get to the tar road, so I could stomach it if I really needed to. In any case, I got to bring the tires and wheels in, and I think my appointment's in like 4 hours. So I'm going to go and clean up everything that's in here and prep for hopefully getting those plugs, and I can put the wheels and tires on, put the plugs in, and then we're crossing our fingers and turning the ignition key. Other than that, we are just perfect. I'm going to go in and get a little something to eat and put away some of the snow stuff from yesterday that we used for blowing out the driveway and doing a little sledding. And I will probably come back to you on the way back from car time. So, see you soon. Well, hey, garage people. Coming at you from the behind the wheel of the Grand Prix. And on my way back home because I attempted to solve 2 problems and ended up solving 1, but only halfway. So... maybe you can tell the Grand Prix is a little vibrating, and that's because the wheels are not balanced. And I've got the wheels for the Camaro in the back, the wheels and tires, the Mickey Thompsons on the torque, what are they called? Torque thrusts? Yeah, Mickey Thompson torque thrusts and American Racing rims or wheels. Yeah, that's what they are, torque thrusts. In any case, I brought them in to get I brought them in to get balanced along with the ones on the Grand Prix, because I was just going to do them all in one fell swoop. And I was scheduled for today at 2, and unfortunately the gentleman scheduled me incorrectly and he put me down for tomorrow. So I was like, oh, that sucks, but that's no problem, because they rescheduled me from yesterday anyway, because I couldn't come in because of the weather and everything and blah blah blah. So no big deal. But fortunately I was able to get in for tomorrow at 11. And then in conjunction with that, I brought my spark plugs back to O'Reilly's and attempted to get some new ones. And fortunately, I was able to get the correct ones ordered, but they won't have them to the store until tomorrow, which coincidentally is also going to be at 11. So fortunately, I'm going to go into the place to get these rotated and get these rotated. These tires, those tires, wheels, rotated, balanced, whatever. I'm going to get everything balanced, and then it will be ready to go back on the car, and I will put the new spark plugs in, and it'll be ready to fire up, because the only thing that's keeping it from being fired right now is there's no plugs in it. So, what I'm going to do when I get home is take 2 of these tires and wheels and put them on the front and lower it down to get the weight on it, and then tighten up the sway bars, and then I will do the same to the back, and then I'll load these tires and wheels back into this trunk space here, so I can bring them back in tomorrow, and then that way at least the sway bars will be torqued and set, and I can cross that off the list, as well as maybe adjust the fitment of the exhaust cutout once the, well, at least I will check, right, once the weight is on the rear wheels, and see how that hangs or doesn't hang against the torque arm. So hopefully I can get a little bit more clearance out of that. That'd be nice, but that remains to be seen. So I will take a video of my progress when it's all said and done. But unfortunately for you and for me, it looks like the first fire up is going to have to wait until tomorrow. And that means the car is definitely not going to go to Todd tomorrow. So if I can't fire it up till afternoon, that doesn't give me any time to drive it, and I got to drive it before it goes to Todd. So I'm going to leave Doug Rippey Motorsports a voicemail message, or maybe they're still open right now. Anyway, I'm going to get in touch with them and let them know my plans, just so they don't have to, they're not expecting it tomorrow. And then I will deliver it to them after I get back from the islands. So, but still, though, that probably will work out well for me, because most likely I will be able to get a little bit of drive time on it tomorrow, before it's too dark out and after I get all my stuff packed up to go on vacation, because I need to put some miles on the rear end just to make sure the gears are meshing correctly and the new differential's happy, and then also drive it around for a bit and then change the oil to check, just check that, and then get the new stuff in it so it's ready for its dyno session and tuning session at DRM. And then when that's done, then I'll get it back and change the oil one more time with the Mobil 1, and then she'll be ready to rock. So yeah. Still got a couple things to do. I'll get that done, and I'll update you guys when she's all said and done. And then obviously we'll come back tomorrow and hear the motor make some, hopefully, sweet, sweet noise. So yeah, little bit of a snafu today, but you know, par for the course. And fortunately, there's no due date on any of this stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm still ahead of the game. So not worried about it, not going to stress. She'll make noise soon. But yeah, checking stuff off the list. It's good no matter how you slice it. See you later. Charging her up. Hey, garage people. I think this is the final video for today, Thursday. It is getting towards evening time here. Sun is still up, but it's kind of going down. I'm going to bring my little sawhorse and my vise back in here. Whoop, watch the door. Done using that for now. But what I was using it for was a holder for my strut tower brace. So I just hacked at it with the grinder and the sander. You can see where I cut out a space to conform to the intake. And then actually, it was just touching a teensy little bit on this fuel rail as well, so I notched it there too. I figure any support's better than none. I mean, who knows how much it'll flex or not flex. I mostly like the look, and I had it in there before, so I wanted to keep it. It was good to edit it rather than not use it, so I'm happy with how that came out. It's sitting flat over here, and it's sitting flat over here as well, so that's good. It is solid. I just got to bolt it down, which I'm not going to do yet because it's much easier to access the spark plugs when this bar is not here. So I'm going to leave that for now. Everything else seems to be happy. There is no brake fluid leaking anywhere. In fact, there's nothing leaking anywhere. No coolant, no oil, no rear end fluid, no trans fluid, no nothing. So the only thing I'm going to do next, before I stop tonight, is I put all the fuses and stuff back in. So I'm going to turn over, or not turn, yeah, I might turn it over. And I put all the connections back on, except for, obviously, the plugs are not in. But I might see what the fuel pressure gauge says if that comes up. So just to make sure the pump is working. But other than that, she's back together. The foot panels are in. Let's see if I can brighten it up a little bit. Kinda. You can see you can see the trunk switch, but the nitrous switches are right here. You can't really see them. My light battery's charging up. Oh wait, no, the other battery's on the light. I'll grab that real quick. So I got the wheel studs, or the wheel nuts, ready to put that on, and then here's the wrench for the plug. and the small size plug hex, which I got ready at O'Reilly's. Yeah, there you go. A little bit better of a view there. Those switches right there, trunk switch, and then no wires. Alright, very clean. And the OBD2 port is right there. So super clean, just as she used to be. I hooked up the gauge to the sender for the fuel gauge before I put all those wires away. So we'll see if we got fuel pressure. So I suppose I could just crawl in there right now. Bring you guys along for the ride. Put that back in there for now. I'm gonna unplug this and pause this so I can hear any fuel doing weird stuff. Crawl in here. Alright. Let's see. Fuel PSI 4.2. What happens when I crank? Oil pressure comes up, and the fuel pressure as well. Perfect! Yay, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. 60 pounds of fuel, 40 pounds of oil. Check gauge's light's on, so is my seatbelt light. Heck yeah, folks. We're super excited about that. I'm gonna go check for leaks, but I don't think we got any, because it seems to be holding, so. Woo-woo! Alright, we momentarily checked for leaks, and we're back. We got no leaks in the fuel system, which is awesome, especially considering all our accessories we added to the fuel rail. We got our pressure sensor up there. We have our nitrous solenoid, and we have that T-fitting all in the same line. So there's a lot of connections there, and there's potential to leak, and it definitely didn't. So the last thing I'm going to check here is we will see. I don't think this has to be running to check this, but we'll see if this lights up when I switch it. Oh, yeah. What about this? Yeah! I can hear you hear the solenoid? Woo! What about the light on the roll control? Yes! Oh my goodness, folks, we are happy. I gotta fix this switch because my glue came undone, but oh man. Light up. Light up. Light up. Oh, yeah. So nice. Although I think that's supposed to have a light in it. But, I don't know. The fuse works, or the solenoid works, so that's all I care about. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a functioning car. This is sweet. Oh, these gauges, we got our fuel, we got our AFR, got our bottle pressure. It's exactly what I wanted. Oh, guys. I am stoked. This is going to be perfect. Alright, I'm going to see about getting this thing repaired in some way, shape, or form. And, yeah, that's it for tonight, guys and gals. We got fuel pressure. We got all our fluids. We got everything we need. I think I'm going to put the battery on the tender just to be safe. And, we're going to call it a night. So I'll come back to you tomorrow, sometime after I get my wheels balanced and tires, well, wheels and tires balanced, and then get those spark plugs in, and that's literally all that's left. So we're all systems go, 100%. I can believe all my stuff works. I did my homework, but oh man, awesome. See you guys tomorrow.